About hitting screen, I was working in a hardware store. An elderly man came in with a kid. They brought a laptop with a broken screen. It turned out that the kid literally hit the screen in rage when he lost in Fortnite or something. Yeah, I was talking about that early in the stream, right? About getting angry over computer games. It's something like that we need to pay attention to. Like our relationships are something like a game. If you're angry enough to like punch a fist in a screen, it doesn't make sense in the bigger picture of things, right? Like there are far greater things to be angry about, like being hungry or not having food or being in danger. Not a computer game. It's like these things need to be examined and thought about, and you need to sort of see it in yourself. Let's throw those over there. Like, oh, this is making me angry. It's not like a good experience to have with a computer game, because they should be fun and they should be a good experience, right? Anger is overrated, says Give Me Your Tacos. Maybe, yeah. I think holding on to anger is overrated. Like, if I think about my emotional development as a person over time, like when I was angered by stuff in the past, I would kind of want to hold on to it, right? Like, I can't let you get away with that. But learning to let go of things and realizing that the anger is like a burden on your own shoulder. It depends on how serious the thing is, right? There's times when anger is about something very serious, but there's also a lot of times when it's about stuff that's like not. Like when you have expectations to get something. Now, one of the things I talk about on the xisumasays channel is these videos that we see on Reddit where we see people in like a bad situation and saying, you know, silly stuff or doing something silly, and it's like one little moment of their life then gets gawked at by lots of other people. And I saw one just the other day of a woman being racist, and it was over just, she was clearly heavily agitated that she had to wait to get food. Now, I know what it's like to be hungry and really want to eat. That can agitate you. But, you know, if you know your food's coming, it can be smart to be able to go, hang on a minute, this situation's going to change, right? Like, eventually, I'll get my food. A little bit of patience will serve me here, right? So that kind of ability to think like that when you're feeling those emotions, to be able to step back and really assess, is this the best use of my emotions right now? That can be powerful. And, you know, with computer games, it's a good thing to have, especially if you're young. A lot of younger kids, right, they have that problem with not being able to get away from computer games. And if I think back to when I was young, I definitely had that, but it never manifested into something that bad. But I definitely had some like attachment to playing games and being frustrated when your parents were like, oh no, you got to do your homework or do this thing. Yeah, from personal experience, I kind of know what it's like. And then now as an adult, you know, in control of my own life, doing what I want to do, it applies to smaller and smaller things now. And it's like a really great thing to learn, just to be able to notice when something agitates you or angers you, because then you can step back and assess the situation. Oh, I was watching this video about anxiety, and this guy kind of mentioned like choice anxiety, right? And like you can sit down trying to pick something on Netflix, and it somehow makes you feel a little bit anxious. And I was like, yeah, I've been through that. Like you got too many options, and you feel like you might pick a bad movie or something. And I've been watching Deep Space Nine, right? And I am loving Deep Space Nine. But one of the things I like a lot about it is that I've got this series, 7 seasons, 26 episodes each, and I'm just loving it every time I put it in. When I sit down, I don't have to make a decision. I'm watching the next bit of it. You know, I sit down several times a day to eat, watch 10 minutes of Deep Space Nine, and then, you know, go back to what I'm doing, right? And I love that. I love the lack of decision there. And so choice anxiety is, I guess, another examined thing that you can think about, is when choices get in your way a little bit, right? And they kind of work against you, and they make you feel awkward. So one of the things that choice anxiety, I guess, if we're going to call it that, it's not proper anxiety, right? It's just momentary irritation, perhaps. Is like choosing what food to get sometimes. Right, there's all these options on the menu, and you just want to have a good meal, and you don't want to pick something that's bad. And luckily for me, the other day when I was looking at the menu, I remembered that, and I was like, okay, I'm actually just going to go and pick something and accept that if it sucks. It's not the worst thing ever. I mean, can you think of worse things than, oh, this takeaway wasn't as good as I would have liked it to have been? What a great thing to have. What a great problem to have. Anyway, I feel like I'm going on a proper tangent, but examine your emotions and just assess them in the bigger picture. Just think about things could be worse. And this is probably not the worst situation ever, right? And with that kind of perspective, you know, you can just, all those little moments where you have downs in your day, where you're angry, frustrated, you can think them away. Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice. It's hard to bring it up in your mind, but if you keep thinking about it, when it does come up naturally in your mind, it's a really good gift to just be like, oh, hang on, I'm getting agitated and annoyed, and I can think about this differently. Cheesinator says, Asuma's therapy sessions. This is nice. Yeah, all this stuff is just bottled up inside of me all the time, basically, like, because I'm constantly engaged with this. I'm constantly interested in like self-improvement, and so then, hey, we're streaming, someone mentions something about anger, and then bam, we're talking about it. I 100% agree that getting angry at computer games shouldn't happen, but sometimes I do get the urge to hit things when losing at games. Most of the time, it's not the game that makes me mad, but rather my personal situation I'm in. It's like the drop that floods the barrel. It frustrates me when I'm trying to relax by playing a game, but it just ends up feeling worse. The hero, it almost sounds like by personal situation, you're almost saying like you're using the game to escape something, and then when the game isn't good, like it brings you back to what you're trying to escape. But that might not be what you meant. I would say don't play games that put you in that position. Try and play stuff that like doesn't activate that, right? Like there's thinking about it correctly and being able to accept, all right, you know, this game is going to aggravate me, right? But there's also like, hey, maybe just avoid games that make you feel like that, because let's say you're going to play this game for the next week, right? That's a week of potentially getting angry often, and, you know, what kind of week do you want to have? There was a documentary called Mind the Gap about skateboarding. I've seen that captures the frustrating feeling pretty well. Basically, it shows like 2 to 3 minutes of the bliss from skateboarding. When someone's board breaks, everything stops, and it's super frustrating. I think the liberation from skateboard or playing games is worth being taken out on. So you're saying that the good stuff with all the frustration before is worth it? Yeah, I would agree with that. But again, that mindset of being aware of how it makes you feel can actually kind of alleviate you from that a little bit. So here's a game style that like used to infuriate me: parkour. Trying to do those little jumping bits, getting all sorts of aggravated when you're not able to do them, right? Used to really frustrate me. And then since I've played parkour after learning this way of thinking and feeling, I kind of like notice it, and then I'm sort of a lot cooler with the whole, okay, I'm going to fall down, it's going to be kind of annoying, so I won't care about it too much. And you can still hold on to that rewards, but kind of, in my experience, alleviate that stress that leads up to the reward. I think getting mad shows your dedication to improve. People who are the best at what they do get mad when they lose. No, I think you could be the best. You could be intensely committed to trying something that's difficult that can make you anger. But I think it's your relationship to anger. It's how you think and feel and deal with these things. I think that can always be improved with just a little bit of thoughtfulness over the situation. You got to remember, like, a lot of the stuff we've talked about, computer games, sports, like these are absolute luxuries to have today, compared to living like, 2,000 years ago or whatever. Go tell a caveman. They'd love to be angry that their skateboard broke, They'd love that.